I want to make this really practical. There's Jesus' life. Let me extract a few principles from Jesus' life for your life. I want you to think about these. I want you to consider these. If you're married, I want you to discuss these. If you're in a community group, I want you to share these. If you're not in a community group, this is where we do life together. This is where we seek wise counsel. Number one, what is the size of your plate? I told you, Jesus only had so much time, so much energy, could handle so many relationships, so much stress, be in so many places. There's limitations, and you and I have greater limitations than he. When I'm talking about your plate size, I'm talking about your life capacity. Some of you, your plate is a salad plate. It's not that big. You can't handle a lot. Some of you, it's a dinner plate. You can handle quite a bit. Some of you, it's a platter. You can handle a lot. No matter what, we're all finite. We all have limitations. There's only so much that you can do. You need to know the size of your plate. You need to accept the size of your plate. If you're a dinner plate and you're married to a platter, you need to give grace to one another. Right? Why can't you do more? Why do you have to do so much? You need to give a little grace to one another. Amen? How many of you notice you married the opposite? Okay. Two platters burn out if they don't give grace to one another. Many of you are going to be married to someone who is very different than you. Some of you are married to someone who's just like you. It's knowing who God made you to be, who God made them to be, in addition, your kids and the capacity that God has entrusted to them, and giving grace to one another. Do you know the size of your plate? Even in your friendships, do you know the size of their plate? Do you realize that some people can't get as much done as other people, and that doesn't mean that they're ungodly or less spiritual or less valuable? Number two, what should be taken off your plate, or what should you take off your plate? What we tend to do, many of us, we tend to just keep putting stuff on our plate. Yes, I'll do this, and yes, I'll do that. And then somebody comes along and they're like, I don't want to deal with this, you deal with it. And then they start throwing everything on your plate. And if you're the responsible one, or you have fear of man issues, or you're worried about if other people will like you or respect you or reject you or maybe hurt you, then all of a sudden, okay, throw it on my plate. And then your plate's stacked up and you're burdened under it and things start falling off your plate. And then you're frantic and you're depressed and you're anxious because you can't keep up with your life. So you got to take some stuff off your plate. Jesus did carpentry for about 30 years, and then he stopped doing carpentry. You say, well, was that wrong for him to do carpentry? No. He was supposed to do carpentry for a while, and then not anymore. Sometimes your kids are little. It's a season of life. You're going to work this job for a while, and then work that job for a while, whatever the case may be. Maybe there were things that you had time and energy for, and now you don't, and they have to come off your plate. I'm jealous for your life. I'm your pastor. I love you. I want to give you permission to take some stuff off your plate. Wisely, carefully, prudently. Don't just go home and, CC everybody. I'm buying a hammock and good luck with everything, right? There's wisdom in even how to get out of some obligations and responsibilities, but you have a right to take some things off your plate. And then thirdly, what should you put on your plate? I've been neglecting that for a long time. That relationship, I've not invested in. I've not had time for church or Bible reading or prayer or community group, serving. I've not opened I keep telling myself, man, as soon as I get through this, then I'll have time for that. But it never comes. So I need to start with my priorities and God's priorities for me. And I need to put the most important things in my life and my energy and my budget and my schedule first, the people and things that matter the most. And then entrust God to help me discern what else I can handle and what I can't. What is your life? What is your life? Friends, it's a mist. It's here today, and it's gone tomorrow. And here's the good news. We're alive. we have an opportunity to examine the life that God has entrusted to us, to make some course corrections and changes so that we don't live in such a way that the last day is a regrettable, remorseful day, but it's a rejoicing day. That's what I want for you. So I don't want you to be discouraged, but encouraged. I don't want you to just regret the things you haven't done, but I want you to celebrate the things that are yet to be done.